I'm going to talk to you essentially on Phaco with cutting edge technology, AI technology, which is what has now come into the being. And I really wanted to just bring out what are the main points which you need to now look into. Today, nowadays, machines have become almost to the point where they are now become efficient to a point where you can almost turn around and say that the machine tends to do the cataract by itself. But cataract surgery is still a high tech procedure, and you have to be careful how you handle it. There are three of the top advanced machines which we are talking about nowadays. That is the Centurion, the Stellaris, the new Veritas, which is soon going to be introduced by Johnson and Johnson, which is really a beautiful machine. I'm going to talk about that, and of course, in the end, also one of our Indian machines, Apaswami's. Now, I'm going to talk to you first on Centurion. That's the machine I deal with most. That's one of the most commonly used machines in India. And the whole idea behind Centurion, where really lies the point. There are two advantages of the technology which they have. One is fluidics, and one is the ozil tip movement, which is the movement which moves around and breaks the lens up into little bits. And the other important concept is a pressurized infusion system, which is with an active sentry which utilizes artificial intelligence. The active fluidics reduces what we call as occlusion breaks surges. So when you set the machine, the machine monitors exactly the pressure during surgery. And that has really been the biggest advantage we have found. There are other adaptations, namely the ozone technology, but I'm going to talk to you more on fluidics because that is where the entire story comes about, and that is where all the new AI systems are now working on. Basically, fluidics is simple inflow, outflow. As long as you balance it, the chamber remains stable. It's as simple as that. The Centurion system, which I'm utilizing, I'm only giving it to you as one of the examples, has fluidics. Most important of all, it has balanced energy. In other words, the quantum of energy which is being liberated into the anterior chamber for the surgery is such that it does not affect the cornea in any way and is just adequate to manage and maintain the cataract. It has various advantages, we won't talk about that, but just to show you the pump, where essentially it runs with a dual pump system and a dual sensor system. And of course, the important advantage is it has 6 individually loaded, spring loaded systems. Why is that important? Because if the loading is inadequate, as we used to have in the olden Opticon systems, then the pump used to clog up and have problems in breaking suction. Thus, it maintains the target pressure inside the eye and utilizes the peristaltic pump. Now don't be misled by fluidics of peristaltic pump and venturi. If you speed up peristaltic, it almost works like a venturi to a certain extent. And thus, what they have done is they have doubled the pump rate. In some of the other systems, like the Stellaris, they make it 4 times the figure. That then you need to have a dynamic response at every stage, and that is where the fluidics come about. And the big advantage also here is that you can pressurize a bag to increase the fluid which is pumped in, literally like a turbocharger for a vehicle. Another advantage is the fact that we can increase by utilizing a double pump. You can double the quantum and you can configure it so that one pump is out of phase with the second pump, so that there's no cut out the sudden outflow break. And the other important thing you have to look forward in all your new machines when you buy them is to ask as to whether they have rotary valves. Valves are either on and off, but if a rotary valve just manages to maintain the quantum which you require, that's what you need to look into. And it is what we have to look into is the occlusion break syndrome and make sure that it doesn't work, because that is what really causes the chamber to suddenly collapse and causes you to break your posterior capsule. In summary, AI controlled active fluidic systems, they maintain it, it works well. Let us quickly look into a quick surgery to just show you exactly how this system works. Essentially, once your cataract works, if you look on your left hand side, there is longitudinal on, torsion and torsion on. Those are what the figures give, the intraocular pressures on the right hand side, aspiration and vacuum. So you can notice here, every time it holds and breaks, there is a sudden control which takes forward and takes into control and compensates for it automatically. So you can notice, though the vacuum has been set, It works equally well at all levels and pressures, thus preventing any surge occurring. And the same thing occurs also with IA. Ultimately, when you look at the power, amplitude, and details, then you find out that you can get away with literally much lower levels of energy than you can get. Talking a little on the Stellaris system, it has a similar thing, but it has a Venturi pump. Advantage of Venturi is that you can manage to get the pieces to come to yourself, which is the other big advantage, is stable chamber fluidics and an attuned energy management system. The Venturi Stellaris system also works very quickly, responds instantly, and all of these systems work on the Stellaris works on what they call as a dual linear foot pedal system, and it's certainly very good, especially when you're removing fragments, when you can control the quantum of aspiration and energy simultaneously. The new system, which is soon to be released very shortly, is the Veritas system from Johnson and Johnson. I'm quickly going to just bring it out for you. And the advantage is that the tip moves upwards and downwards. So it is a two-flare etc. level. It's what we call as a swivel handpiece, and we're looking forward to getting it. And finally, just a few comments about our Indian systems. Our Galaxy Pro Orbit systems also seem to work extremely well. Thank you for your attention.